You've been asking, why are we sitting with so many traffic fines? You are an operator, you are an Uber driver, a fleet owner. You're sitting with a whole lot of traffic fines. Some of these fines don't belong to you. Some of these, you know that there's a machine that is somewhere in Germany for driver's license. But when you get to the police, to a roadblock, when you are stopped, you are asked to have one. If you don't have one, you're going to be issued with an infringement notice or a ticket or a traffic fine. What does this mean? It means that there are a lot of us that are getting tickets because of the mistakes of government. And at no point does government talk about how do we compensate those that are sitting with traffic fines that don't belong to them. So today we're going to have a very interesting discussion with a representative from a political party. Yeah. Don't fight. We have nothing to do with politics as an organization. You know what we stand. We only talk public transport. But interestingly, there's a political party that is currently in the city of Johannesburg and other cities around the country. They have said that we have constantly been observing what the behavior of Department of Transport and the unfairness in some of the cases. And yet, the department does not acknowledge this. And yet, listen to this. They're saying, we don't promote. So if you got an infringement or a ticket or a fine or a traffic fine, as you would call it, if you got it because you are on your phone, you were driving recklessly, it's your mistake and you're going to pay for it, right? But if you are sitting with a traffic fine as a result of a permit that you don't have in your hand, but you have applied in the past, you have lost a vehicle, or at some point your vehicle was impounded and you had applied, but you've not received because of the backlog or how the department does this, it's not your mistake, it's our mistakes. My name is Isaac. This is your episode where we're going to deal with the amnesty on the taxi industry and other road transport users. And in studio, we have a visitor who's going to introduce himself and tell you where he comes from and why they're doing what they're doing. We just give people platform. My brother, welcome.
Thank you so much, my brother, Brother Isaac, and thank you so much for allowing us into your space.
Right.
And we thank you so much for the work that you also do.
Right.
And we have seen from a distance that you are somehow aligned to the work that we do. You
Right.
talk transport, we talk problems of transport. So
Right.
we somehow, are aligned in that. So my name is Sam Shabani. I represent the African Heart Congress. I'm the national chairperson there. So our participation in this is we have received numerous complaints, numerous problems where families, because we work on the ground and we look after families that are in distress, families that have lost breadwinners, loved ones. So as we move along and we find that there's a compounding problem where taxi owners are losing their assets, which is the taxis. And as a result, they are unable to feed their families. So when we investigate and we engage them more, we realize that most of them, some yes, it would be, a transgression there where, it is, the wrongdoing of a driver.
Right.
But some of them, if not most of them, are as a result of them not having a permit. And then we said, oh, by the way, the permits are not issued by anybody else but the government. So let's look into what is happening within the government. And now we've realized that government has been issuing permits, and in some instances, there have been delays in the issuing of permits. And to those who have realized the delays or are being delayed with the permits would then be on the road without permits. And unfortunately, for them, they will be issued with permits, and some
with traffic fines, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, fines will be issued fines.
Yeah.
And some would then have their cars impounded.
Sure.
So, and when the car is impounded, they then owe the banks.
Yeah.
And when the car is impounded by the government, the installments are lagging behind. So as a result, they're not able to pay for their cars.
So you are saying there is someone who is an owner of a vehicle that is financed.
Yes.
That is sometimes removed from the road, impounded by government as a result of not having or holding a valid permit at the time when they are stopped at the roadblock or anywhere else.
Yes.
And the normal reaction of the police is that if the vehicle does not have an operating license, they will more often than not do one of the two things or both. Issue you with a traffic fine and impound the vehicle.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly that.
Is this what you guys were finding in your interactions with communities and all that?
That's what we've uncovered, that this is how government have been treating the taxi operators. And we found in most cases it's an unjust to the taxi operators, because here you are waiting for your permit to be issued by your provincial government, because this is a provincial issue. And your local municipality, because they've got your JMPD, your
EMPD.
So they would not look at who is responsible for your permit or what is happening with your permit. If you don't have it, or if it's not,
you are not in possession of
that permit, then you are issued with a fine. So now they are caught in between the rock and hard place, because here you are trying to feed your family, because the bottom line is they need to survive. They need to feed their families. And while they're trying to do that, and also trying to be legit in their operations, because they would go and apply for those licenses, and those licenses or permits have been delayed by the government. So now what we've found is that the taxis are repossessed and they lose their livelihoods. Children, some of the children are being turned away from schools, and there's no meal at home. So it's an issue. So, and bottom line, they all boils down to the negligence of the Department of Transport in the province.
Sure. Just hold that thought. So if you're an e-hailing operator, you're a driver, you're a taxi operator, this is for you. This episode is about you remembering that you have applied, because majority of the Uber drivers, operators whose vehicles are on the road, we know that you don't have a permit. We know. But we also know that you have applied for it and have not received it. We also know that for you to get it, you must go and bribe somebody so that you are on the front of the queue, because the Department of Transport has long acknowledged that there's a backlog. But there's a difference here. The law empowers the traffic officer who stops you on the side of the road. The law says that they must ask you for a permit or a driver's license. You must produce both of these things. If you don't have a driver's license, you can't drive. If your vehicle does not have a permit to be on the road, it does not have to be on the road, because it is used to transport people for a fee. Yes. So anything that you use, any vehicle that you use to transport people and you get a reward for it, you are supposed to have an operating license for it. You as a driver, you must have a professional driving license. So if you don't have any of these two, you are wrong in terms of what the law says. But what the African Heart Congress is saying is that they have discovered that there are so many of you without either a professional license, whatever it is, or professional driving permit, but there's a big number of people or vehicles that don't have operating permits or licenses. And that is a mistake by government. But hold on. Even though it's the mistake of government, your vehicles are impounded. And we know we've had an episode here where you go to the airport, especially for Uber and hailing drivers.
Yes.
When you go to the airport, you go to Tshwane. Your vehicles are being impounded. They have been impounded a few times. You have paid traffic fines in the past. And all of that was as a result of the negligence of the Department of Transport. So here's the big question. But okay, we've outlined what the problem is. And we also understand that this is your finding as a political party.
Yes.
That in your interactions with communities.
Yes.
What I'm going to ask you is, when you approached us, you said you want to pilot this, and you wanted to pilot this and looking at what is going on in Johannesburg before you take this thing everywhere else. Talk to me about that approach.
We have discovered that this is not just a regional problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is a national problem.
Mm-hmm.
But however, to tackle this thing on a national scale,
mm-hmm.
you'd require some massive operations.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it was going to take long.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at families that are suffering. We're looking at families that are in distress at the moment. So we said, let's have a pilot and look into what is happening in Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're looking at what is happening in Johannesburg, we know that whatever that is happening in Johannesburg, it's similar to what is happening in Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, Western Cape, in your Cape Town municipality,
mm-hmm.
and so on. So we are now going to look into how the city of Johannesburg can come on board and assist these operators,
mm-hmm.
because it's on both ways. It's on your minibus taxi operators
mm-hmm.
and on your e-hailing operators.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen I think it's about in February or Jan this year, Tshwane was repossessing or was impounding taxis
mm-hmm.
without proper permits.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they've also went into others and impounded, but let's not go into that. So we are trying to avoid a situation where families are going to lose even more.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do now is we are going to speak to the city of Johannesburg, and which we feel don't have an ear to listen to because they are carrying a municipality.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to speak to them to ask for an amnesty for the taxi operators,
mm-hmm.
where we'll have a look into how far we can go. But
mm-hmm.
for those operators that had their taxis impounded as a result of them not having a permit,
mm-hmm.
I need to stress this out. It's because of a permit
mm-hmm.
that we're fighting for,
mm-hmm.
for this recourse, because we've also discovered that there are transgressions that had to do with driver
behavior,
skipping the robots, and so that's a driver behavior.
Yeah,
that can be dealt with separately,
mm-hmm.
which I think the department will also have some form of dealing with it. But for us is to look into the amnesty for the operators with fines or with fines on permits.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to ask the city to give them amnesty, to pardon them, and to scrap their debts, and also to assist them. Because what we also notice is on the 7th of May this year, Isaac, the Department of Gauteng has released a notice
mm-hmm.
where they are now saying every municipality must stop impounding
mm-hmm.
taxi operators because they've realized they've got a problem of issuing out permits
Mm-hmm.
to the operators. So they are now working on their systems, how best they can assist and fast track those permit issuing.
Mm-hmm.
So we are now realizing that, hold on, these guys also have noticed that there is a problem that they have created themselves, because some of the issues that we've picked up is that the operators are issued license or permits on a route, and the operator 2 or B also receives a permit that crosses on what A has received, the route permit of A. So as a result, those creates conflicts and fights within the taxi associations. So, and to an extent, the government is aware of this, but they are reluctant in fixing the problems. So in us assisting the government, we said, look, let's look into how municipalities can play a role, because they are the implementers of the act.
The custodians of
the act. Yeah. Even though it's a national issue, but they are the custodians. So they implement this act on the road. So they've got the powers. They've been given the powers by the National Public Transport Regulation or the National Land Transport Act. It gives them the powers to impound a car. So now the Gauteng government is suspending that act through the notice that they issued.
But then that means that the Department of Transport in Gauteng, Roads and Transport in Gauteng, acknowledges. That's so incriminating.
Yes,
you are acknowledging that you have failed in executing your responsibility of issuing out permits.
Yes.
And as a form of correcting that, you are only asking municipalities to stop impounding vehicles futuristically.
Exactly.
But that does not take care of the fact that there are people who are already in debt. There are people whose vehicles are sitting somewhere. The notice does not say release all the vehicles because other people. It just says that stop from now moving forward.
With immediate effect as of the 7th of May. So it suspends the impounding as of the 7th of May. But there is no recourse for those who have been impounded prior to the 7th of May.
Which then means that there is somebody who's an e-hailing operator, who's a minibus taxi operator, who is sitting with a 2-year worth of traffic fines that have been issued at different times by different police officers or traffic officers across the city of Joburg. And all of these are adding up towards what their traffic fine value is today. So somebody said to me that I'm sitting with 400,000 of...
Exactly. I wanted to say to you, some are sitting at 100,000.
Yes.
So you can imagine if you owe even 50,000.
It's a lot of money.
How do you then come up with that 50,000 if you are a taxi operator? They don't make that much.
They actually don't.
They don't make that much. Yeah. All they do is for them to be able to feed their families, to survive as people. But because of the negligence and the recklessness of the government by issuing these licenses and also not issuing permits on time, they find themselves in this situation. And nobody is fighting for them. Nobody cares about them. Nobody's saying, we hear you, we see you, this is how we can help you. All they're doing now, it's like putting a Band-Aid on an oozing wound.
Yeah.
So the blood will still continue to flow out because you're putting a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is to look at what happened in the past, prior 7th of May 2025. What happened before? And which operator is suffering as a result of the permit that were not issued or as a delay.
Okay. So somebody is there on the live. For those of you who are there, you know what to do. So you tap the screen, man. What is this thing? Give us those likes. Get us to 50,000 there. Remember that we are also available on YouTube, so we're streaming live on YouTube as well. Subscribe on our YouTube channel because we need to get those numbers up. We've just started. Guys, we're here. We're not going anywhere. You better, contend with this issue that we're here. But listen to this important thing. Somebody is sitting here and saying that I've never heard of the African Heart Congress. Is this a political party? Is it an NGO? And what is your relation? Why are you starting in Joburg? What's your relationship there? Do you have friends there, or what is going on in the city of Joburg?
The African Heart Congress is a national political organization.
Okay.
And we have footprints in all 9 provinces.
Okay.
We've got members in all 9 provinces.
Okay.
We have participated in the provincial and national elections in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got councillors in Johannesburg. We do have a councillor. We also have councillors in other municipalities. So we are a national organization. We're not just a fly-by-night that just emerged.
Because I was worried about that. I'm talking to these guys. I don't know if you're talking about the city of Joburg. Do they even exist in the city of Joburg?
We do have existence in Johannesburg. We do have a seat in Johannesburg, and we are also participating in the government of local unity in the city of Johannesburg.
Okay.
So
you're legit.
We're legit, yes.
So the things that we're talking about here, you are able to take them straight in the council of...
Straight into council as a motion. We will present it in council to say, look, here we are presenting this on behalf of the marginalized, on behalf of the neglected, on behalf of those who are suffering injustice by our own, because the JMPD belongs to the city of Johannesburg, and they're the ones who are impounding, they're the ones who are issuing fines, and unknowingly they're doing that because they don't understand that the Gauteng government has negligently denied the operators their permits, or they have issued permits that are crossing with other permits or other operators. So as a result, creating this chaos. So we are going to be their voice because they had no voice. They've been saying to us, look, we don't have a voice. We don't have anyone to speak to. We've done it all. We've had ministers from national government to speak to us. We've got provincial MECs coming to speak to us. We've got even some previously from your council, Johannesburg, speaking to us. And all the time, when they speak to us, it is as a reactionary to the problems that they are facing, because we are killing each other.
Yeah.
We're massacring each other. And it's because of we are fighting for space.
Yeah.
So for us to stop fighting is for government to do something about it. And as you being part of this problem with us as an African Heart Congress on this journey, please help us to do something about it. So we said, okay, fine, let's take it, and as a staggered solution, and say, for now, you've got cars that are impounded, and we've got issues with your permits. We appreciate and we welcome the issuing of this notice to suspend the impoundments of the cars. Now we are now dealing with those that have tickets or infringement notices that were given to be cancelled or withdrawn or expunged. And then for those who are still having their cars in the pounding areas, must then be returned to the owners.
Okay.
And then we're also through the Transit Ringas, we're also looking into speaking to banks,
right?
Because the banks are also repossessing, because these guys are not making money, they're not paying their debts.
Yeah.
So through Transit Ringas, we are going to speak to banks and get the banks on board as well. Those who are financing the taxi operators, we are going to get them on board as well, to get them to assist, because they're looking to make money. Taxi operators are looking to make money, and they're getting money from the taxi operators. So for them to get money from the taxi operators, they need to assist them to ensuring that they've got the conditions available that are conducive to to be able to make money from operating these taxis.
No, I like that. I like that because we always want friends on these things. This journey is very complicated.
Yes.
You don't win it alone.
Yes.
So we are thankful that as the African Heart Congress, you have picked up a fight that you are taking directly in the city of Joburg to say that the mistakes that are created by the system, we would want to stand for these informal traders. People forget that the taxi industry is exactly the same as spaza shops, as the lady who's selling fruits at the corner of a street.
Yes.
And yet, all of these other people, the spaza shop owner, there's 500 billion sitting there or million sitting there that needs to be given to these people. There's nothing that speaks about, because we've heard about this taxi recapitalization at some point. What's your stand on the taxi recapitalization as the African Heart Congress?
Before I get to that, you've just touched on an issue of informal traders.
Yeah.
When we received these complaints from the taxi operators, identical, the issues that informal traders are facing, it's similar to what the taxi operators are facing.
Right.
And there is no platform that has been given to anyone, especially informal traders, because the taxi operators, to me, they're similar to informal traders.
Right.
So they're similar. No one is giving them the platform to have the issues heard, to find a way of resolving whichever issues they might have. So they are being, marginalized, they're being neglected, they're being, pushed away when they raise their issues. As a result, so at some point in 2 years back, we saw that the taxis were now taking the fight to the streets. They couldn't, go further with the fight, because the government, as they always do, they will, smooth talk them, and then, So we are now saying, let's deal with the taxis same way as we are dealing with the informal traders. We are going to treat them equally, give them an ear, give them a helping hand to ensure that they now look at their own businesses, because it's a business. It's something that you live off, and it's something that helps you to feed your family. So we are now looking into that and assisting them, and looking at how we are going to win this fight in Johannesburg. We are going to reciprocate the same in Tshwane, in Ekurhuleni, in Mfuleni. So we are going to target Gauteng as it is, because we've now noticed that it is a Gauteng.
It's a big problem.
It's a Gauteng problem.
Yeah.
So we are going to tackle Gauteng, and then once we are done with Gauteng, or as things are unfolding in Gauteng and happening, and solutions are being explored, then we move to other provinces where there's a pressing need, because we've identified Western Cape would probably be our next stop, because they are also facing similar issues in the Western Cape, and we will then fight for them in the Western Cape.
No, I think this is important, because we have been talking to Nandue Wata, and they've been here in the studio. We had the privilege of being with them both in studio and privately, and we've seen that what you guys are raising is very important. And we said to them, we will also go and find friends, because unfortunately we don't have we are not a political party.
Yes.
So we have no way of coming into council and raising something like this, unless you find a friend. While we were looking, fortunately, the universe works in very interesting ways. you are already doing your work on the ground.
Yes.
And thank you for approaching us, because you brought an issue that we had already taken to operators that are affected. I mean, Nandue water is the biggest mess in Soweto, and if we can help them, and in fact there are a whole lot of other conflict infested pockets, and we need to somehow help these people, because they can't renew their vehicles, their license, their operating licenses, because before you get your operating license or your driver's license, you must pay all the fines first.
Deal with the debt first.
Deal with the debt first, and people are unable to do this. So we're thankful to that, and I think here's a camera here. There's Nandue, there's Wata, they've been at war for the longest time. They are sitting with the biggest amount of traffic fines. Would you take this matter on their behalf as well?
And fortunately, or surprisingly, members of the taxi associations some of them that we spoke to, belong to Nandue, belong to Owata.
Okay.
So it looks like they've been knocking on doors,
right,
for the longest of time.
Right,
knocking on doors, asking for help, going from pillar to post, and not finding anyone that will listen to them and help them. And fortunately, they came to you. And when we approached Transit Ringas, you were saying, "Hold on, this is what we're doing."
Yeah.
So we can partner and help the taxi operators in this. And you do what you do best. We will do what we do best in helping them in council, helping them with other matters that has to do with the city of Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
And we think, I think in partnership we are going to be able to assist them, and hopefully go even beyond, to recover their vehicles, for those who have lost their vehicles, to recover them, and some even reclaim their status within the banks, because some of them have been blacklisted, with the banks, and they've lost whatever they had. So they need to reclaim their status within the banks, and then get their lives back on track.
So I think the purpose of this specific episode, to my lovely viewers, both on YouTube and TikTok as we speak now, is that the problem of a negligent government has long been established. And the punishment and the pain of negligence is being felt by people every day, and it has been felt over the years. Unfortunately, we can't sit here and promise everyone heaven and earth.
Yes.
We know that in South Africa, almost 89% of the fatal road accidents are as a result of a driver behavior. So we know that the drivers are responsible. And when you talk drivers, we're not only referring to the taxis. We're saying that the drivers, there's human error in South Africa. We are the biggest. We're winning awards with death on the road. We're the biggest in the world. And all of these are as a result of you as the driver and me as the motorist, right? So we are saying that, okay, because you and I have a responsibility to change how we interact with the road, there are certain things that we're trying to help you deal with while you are dealing with your behavior. One of them is just helping you deal with the issue of permits. That is as a result of government. And the African Heart Congress is here to say that Nandue, Wata, and others. I mean, Faraday, I know that Faraday has been having huge issues with their Zonke Zizwe route.
Yes.
That is big conflict as well there. So what we're trying to do here is to say, let's find a pilot and see if we can create a legal precedence where we can say, if the Gauteng acknowledges that we have backlog, We acknowledge as Gauteng Road and Transport that there are systemic problems that have affected people. Can we give people amnesty on the basis of what you guys accept? Just what you guys accept. And say that all the payments that have been made or the suffering that people have seen and endured over the years, we are saying that over the next 2 years, over the last 2 years rather,
Yes.
because we can't ask the whole world to do, just over the last 24 months, can we clean the slate on anything that has to do with fines relating to permits?
Yes.
And if we can get that right, even if we pilot it with a small group where there's a very, very well-known and documented conflict, we would have done something for the taxi industry. We are sending a message to say that you are not on your own. You have been neglected for the longest time.
Yes.
And we and I know that there's a whole lot of us that are going to say, oh, but why are you doing this to the taxi owners? They are criminals. They don't treat us well and all of that. Here is a different matter. The matter is some of these mistakes that we're talking about. We're talking about the mistakes that are created by government, not by themselves.
Yes.
Where you make a mistake yourself, where you are on the phone, as you correctly put it, that when you jump a red robot, it's your responsibility and you are going to have to pay for that.
Exactly.
It must be known, though, chairperson, that the drivers, kibo clever.
Oh, yes.
So they don't tell the owner that they're picking up tickets every day. So the owner goes to the traffic department, wants to renew something and realize that my vehicle is sitting with huge amounts of traffic fines. We really need to look at that. But I think for today, I want you to, in 2 minutes, just give me what is it that this process would take. So if we are saying we are in Joburg, what do we require? Who should benefit from this, and what do they require for them to qualify for this amnesty application?
Okay. Before I speak about the qualifications of the amnesty, let's maybe address that issue of tickets as well.
Okay.
So we are aware that there are some taxi operators or taxi owners that gives their taxis to the drivers, and these drivers accumulate fines, and those fines are then booked in the name of the taxi itself, the minibus itself.
Yes.
So we are looking into how best we can assist them, where tickets are issued issued to the driver. Those tickets must remain in the driver's name because it's a transgression that the driver himself, out of being silly, transgressed. So those tickets must remain with the driver and not with the car itself. So as a result, that will then free them from paying or being penalized for the mistakes or the wrongdoings of the driver. So we are looking into that, and hopefully, we will have someone to listen to us and agreeing that we cannot punish the owner as a result of somebody's.
Sure.
Yeah. Even though
that's a big thing.
Even though in law you can punish, the owner based on what the employee has done. But however, we are trying to find ways of fighting for the owner so that they don't get punished for the wrongdoings, because in this instance, the owner did not approve of the wrongdoings of the driver. So we will fight for them in that cause. So coming to your question on how do they qualify to be part of this? So for now, as I've mentioned, we are looking at the Nandua and Oata associations. We are going into discussions with them, with you as well as Transit Ringas, to look at their database, look at how many are affected as a result of of the permits that were not issued or expired, or so those that are affected in that, and then we will then take the database, the list of those who are affected over a period of, you've put it 2 years, 24 months, and submit the list as is to the council. But that list should only include the permits. I just want to stress that out, because someone will then say, but I also have a traffic a speeding fund, or I was speaking on my cell phone and then I was fined. So we're not going to entertain those. We're only entertaining those who are fined because of the permits. Yeah, operating licenses.
I like that, but I wanna double click on it. I just wanna, before you move forward, you've touched on something very important. You said earlier that drivers get away with murder.
Yes.
And remember, the contract of the driver is with the operator, and it's sometimes very short-lived.
Yes.
This operator might be sitting with a traffic fine of somebody who's not even working for them.
Exactly.
As we speak.
Yes.
The driver long left is somewhere else, is accumulating other tickets somewhere else. Exactly. But all of those previous tickets are remaining with this poor guy.
Exactly.
Are we saying, while we understand that what do we say about a person whose vehicle is sitting with fines and the employee, the driver, is no more there? It was Isaac who was driving this vehicle 3 years ago until the last 6 months. But Isaac is no longer there. He's gone somewhere else. Is there something? Can we put up a case for somebody like that?
We can put up a case in that instance, because it's not the doings of the owner. It's the employee who was the driver at the time who transgressed.
Okay.
Because, for instance, if you are a security guard and I issue with a gun to safeguard my premises or somebody's premises, and you go out and shoot someone with that gun, I can't be held liable for the murder.
Yeah, you can't.
You need to.
I must face the
answer for your sins. We've got case laws that speaks to that.
Okay.
So we should be able to, with those case laws, submit something on their behalf to say, look, let's look at it in this way. Here's an employer who employs someone, and in the employment contract it says, obey the rules of the law, legal on the road, have your license, and transport people from point A to point B. So if an employee, for some silly reasons, transgresses, the owner is not there to monitor. So it is not going to be fair to punish the operator
for the mistake of somebody who's no longer there. Now, this is important, because remember that a motion that is presented on behalf of e-hailing owners or operators or minibus taxis, it is a motion, it's a proposal that can be put inside council.
Yes.
It may succeed or may not succeed.
Yes.
Or parts of it may succeed and other parts may not succeed.
Yes.
So all we are saying here is that we it's a universe. Yes. And we are going to cut it into pieces. Some of the pieces might win and others might not. But the guarantee is that we're going to take the motion into council, for council to discuss this issue. Yes. But I will be very interested to see what the attitude of the council is going to be towards these informal traders that are referred to as minibus taxi operators, because even the e-hailing drivers are still, or owners are still, informal traders, because their relationship with Uber or Bolt classifies them as independent contractors. So they are independent contractors. They are informal traders. So the motion is going to cover both the minibus taxis and the e-hailing.
Exactly.
Okay. So now that's fine. When is the next council meeting?
We were looking at the council meeting that's happening this Wednesday and Thursday. But however, because of other logistics, we were not able to submit the motion to be passed in council this
council sitting.
This council sitting. So we are looking at July. So the council sitting that comes, then I think the next one would be towards the end of July. Then we are going to definitely submit the motion in council, for the July sitting.
Would you be able to invite the taxi operators to come and hear this, or are we allowed? Are we even allowed to come here, come there and just observe?
Yes, the operators are allowed to come, but through invitation.
Okay.
And however, the invitations are limited. At some point, I think per political party, you're allowed to have 3 people.
Okay.
There, but however, they do have the online streaming as well.
Okay.
So if you're not invited, you can't get in there. You can sit at the comfort of your home, watch, from the streaming.
Okay.
And then you'll be part of the experience.
Now, because I want to invite you guys for that. On that day, I want you, all the operators, e-hailers, I want us, and including those that are in other parts of the country, watch when a motion is presented, history is made on your behalf. In council, somebody or some political party stands up. And by the way, I'm not a member of the political party. None of us are members. The only thing that brings us together is that we were all looking at how we can assist the operators of the road transport space. That's basically what brought us together. And we are thankful. We will not block them because they're a political party, as long as we can use their influence. The fact that they are in council and can take an issue on behalf of operators. It has never been done in South Africa. And if we get this one right, it means that this is something that can be done in other parts of the country.
Yes.
So this could be a very big thing.
It could be a legal precedent that we
definitely
will set up, and municipalities. I'm hoping even Cocta will be watching.
Yes.
The whole thing would be falling in within the Cocta space.
They
would then start looking at how they can partner with Department of Transport, because they make the rules, they make the law. Cocta makes the law that governs municipalities.
Okay.
So once those laws are made, in partnership with the National Transport, looking at the acts that will govern the taxis and how they are managed in the country. So, but that's another fight for another year. For now, we're looking at how we can release the taxis that are impounded.
Good stuff. What do you want to say finally to the operators? Do you want to give them some hope? Here's a camera. Speak to them.
For the fact that we are here and we have heard their cries, we have listened, and we have seen in some instances where taxis are impounded. Families are it touches my heart, because when you visit a family and they tell you, please give us 50 rands, they ask for 50 rands to buy bread or millimia. It breaks my heart.
Right.
And it breaks my heart even worse when a taxi operator says, "Angisasebenzi, it's because my car has been impounded." So we are here for taxi operators. We are here on their behalf. Whether you're e-hailer or whether you are, minibus taxi operator, we are here, and Transit Ringas is listening. African Heart Congress is listening. We are going to fight on your behalf. And we'll do our best to ensure that those who are missing their taxis because of their being impounded for the mere purpose of not having a permit, we are going to ensure that we fight to have your taxis returned to you. And those who are missing their taxis because of unroadworthiness and other transgressions, please, we're not fighting for that for now. Our fight is for those who have lost their taxis because of permits. We are going to sit and look at how we get your taxis back. So please go to your associations, register yourself. I know some of you have long lost that relationship with your taxi operators or taxi associations because you no longer have your taxis. Go back to your associations and say, hey, we've heard that there is a party, African Heart Congress, and we also know that there is Transit Ringas. The two are partnering to fight for our cause. We would like to register ourselves because the taxi was impounded 2 years ago or a year ago. I need to get my taxi back so that I can get back into operating. I need to get my tickets or my fines expunged. I need to get back to work. For the past 2 years, I couldn't. So register yourself, and we are coming to get that list from your associations, and we are going to fight for your cause. July, next sitting, council sitting, we'll be submitting the motions.
Thank you so much. Thank you for spending time with us. We are part of a movement that's trying to bring change. It must be known that the public protector has already confirmed that there's a case to be answered by the Department of Roads and Transport in Gauteng. And because of that, those who've been weaponizing their positions as officials, your time is up. And there's these systemic problems that have cost people livelihoods are also going to be attended to. We want to thank you as the African Heart Congress that you have picked up an important fight about the operators. We will support where we can. We will keep our lines. We would make sure that we are not confused to be any political party because there'll be a lot of them sitting here. And only if they come and talk about public transport. Yes. If you come here, you try and speak about any other thing, we will block you. This studio has got bulletproof and soundproof. So we would block you from, that you come in here, you need a finger, so we'll block you from coming in only when you talk about a public transport space. But thank you very much. Thank you for gracing our space. We are starting a new journey, and this journey must give results. So July is a date. We've got a date to dance. From me to you, peace and light. Isaack Lesole, thank you very much, and thank you, my brother, for spending the time with us.
For the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Yo, en het rijden.